Shabbat Shalom, Darchei Noam. This is your Rabbi Danielle Parmenter. We did it. We are open. It's official. So grateful for each and every one of you. Thank you so much for your hard work, for opening your hearts and minds and building this amazing, beautiful community together. I just can't wait to watch it unfold. Here we are opening Darchei Noam, which is so amazing and exciting. We are in summer mode, right? Our secular lives, hopefully we're going to the beach and we're in the pool and it's easy breezy and it's like this really like light feeling in the secular world, right? School's out for those that are in that school mentality. And the Hebrew calendar, it's always really difficult because the Hebrew calendar at this time of year always comes to say, no, this is not an easy breezy light time. This is actually a time for deep reflection. Right now we are in the 3 weeks of Tammuz, the Hebrew month of Tammuz, leading up to Tisha B'Av. Tisha B'Av memorializes the destruction of both temples and really is this moment of utter destruction when we are forced into galut, when we are forced into exile, both physically and spiritually, right? Where we are forced into utter dislocation and disconnection from our source. And how did that happen? Tradition says that the destruction of the temple happened because of sin'ah, because of the hatred that was harboring, that was manifesting, that was bubbling up among our ancestors. And they got to a point where they othered each other so drastically, and the community was so divided that God's presence could no longer be present in the temple. God's presence fled from the temple and it was destroyed, and the people were sent into galut, into exile. And so these 3 weeks of the month of Tammuz lead up to that, and it's really a time of mourning. And what I'm really finding when I meditate on this time this year is that Tammuz is meant to hold up a mirror. It's meant to hold up a mirror to each of us and to say, really, you need to look deep inside. You need to look deep inside for those moments when anger got the best of you, right? When maybe hatred got the best of you, when you othered. And the most difficult part is Tammuz holds up a mirror and says, look at those moments, even when you were so sure you were right. Look at those moments when you were fighting for justice, you were fighting for truth, you were fighting for an amazing cause, and yet you did so in a way that othered, right? In a way that maybe was not kind, in a way that caused division, right? Because that is not the way. At its core, right? The ikar, right? The essence, the truth of what we are meant to learn. All the mystical traditions say this, is that we are one. That God is everywhere, God is one, right? Our children sing this, and it sounds so simple, especially when they sing with their sweet, innocent voices, and yet this is a mind-blowing truth that is so hard to believe and to practice, right? And so these 3 weeks of Tammuz say, you need to practice this. You need to find a way to temper that anger, right? And that even when you are fighting for justice, when you are fighting for what is right, it needs to be inherently connected to kindness and compassion, right? And these happen to be 2 of our pillars at Darchei Noam. We have community, justice, kindness, and Torah. And those 2 in the middle, the justice and the kindness, they need to be inherently connected. And so this week we also study Parashat Pinchas, which says the exact same thing. Pinchas actually holds up a mirror to God. Pinchas displays really unbelievable, passionate zeal, right? Doing what he thinks is right, and he causes terrible violence, right? And God sees this, and God self-learns that this is not the way. That really the only way to truly bring holiness and love and goodness and God's presence to manifest in this world, the only way is through a brit shalom, is through a covenant of shalom, right? And so, and that becomes the legacy. That becomes the legacy of the priesthood. That becomes our legacy. We as Jews, we are a community of priests. We are a community that is trying to channel holiness. And the only way we can channel holiness is by doing it through a covenant of shalom, a covenant of peace. So we begin this first Shabbat together, right? Really heeding the call of the month of Tammuz and heeding the call of Pinchas, and go forward with an open heart, with a softened heart, right? To really like meet our edge, even in those most challenging times, and to find a way as hard as it is, but it is for the sake of the holy that we must soften. We must meet our edge and soften ever more deeply. And may that bring great, beautiful, abundant, radiant blessing to us all and to the entire world. Amen Selah. Shabbat Shalom, my friends. I can't wait to see you soon. Take care.